Hey guys, so this is probably the first video you're seeing on this channel. This channel is basically going to be a coding channel for me. It'll also have some clips probably from Warzone and other games, but it'll mostly be a coding channel. Today I'm going to be going over folder structure in Garry's mod GLua. This is separate from other things like Roblox and 5M. They're not the same type of GLua, they're completely fundamentally different. So I'm just going to be going over the folder structure, the basic folder structure of GLua. I'm also going to be going over how to install the IDE that I use, which is Visual Studio Code with the GLua extensions. And I'm going to be going over exactly how you do that step by step. So let's just first get into how to install the IDE. Now, this is the website you're going to use to install your IDE. This website will basically give you your method of coding. This is going to be an app that will allow you to write and read code effectively, and it's going to be very difficult for you to follow along with what I am doing and what most people are doing with code if you do not have one of these. There's alternatives to Visual Studio Code, such as Sublime and Notepad++, but I personally really prefer and recommend Visual Studio Code, strongly prefer. For the longest time, I was a Knights Templar for Sublime, but I really recommend using Visual Studio Code. It's just so much better. It also has extensions and things like that that Sublime just does not have. So let's go ahead and get into how to download it. You want to hit download, and it'll go ahead and automatically download for you. You can open this up after it's done, and after it is done, it'll run through the thing, and then it'll open this window right here. The first thing you want to do when you get into here, on the side there's this little 3 bricks and then a little tiny brick. You want to click that and then type in on the extensions GLua, G-L-U-A, and you want to install one of these. I recommend the one by Yobson or the one by Billy. They're both updated quite frequently, and they're both pretty okay. The one uploaded by Billy is a little bit better in my opinion, but I personally use Yobson. I'm too lazy to install it, so yeah. After you install that, you can go ahead and change some of your settings in here if you want to. It would be up here in preferences. You can change your color theme, you can change your icons and things like that, change your keyboard shortcuts, all of that. But that's pretty much how you set up. Onto the main part of the video. This part will be going over the general folder structure of Gmod and how to basically set up everything in Gmod. So, you want to navigate to Steam Apps, Common, Garry's Mod, Add-ons, and make a folder for your add-on. You can name this whatever you want. Your only exception is no spaces, please. I hate seeing people add spaces and then they wonder why it's not working, they get angry and they quit. It won't read anything that has a space in it because it's just not valid to GLua. Now, once you make this folder, you're going to make a folder inside of this folder. We're going to call this GLua. This will basically be our main GLua running folder. This will have every single bit of GLua code we have inside of it. If you were to add a sound or material like a texture or a gunshot, you'd add it into a sound folder or you'd add it into a material folder. GLua is just for raw code. So go inside of GLua and you want to make a new folder and you want to call it auto run. This will basically automatically run code that is put inside of here. It will not run any code outside of here. There's no code that is going to be ran automatically outside of here without your intervention. Now you want to go ahead and open this up and you want to make a new folder inside of this. We're going to call this client. This folder will basically contain everything for the client side. You want to make another folder for server, and I'm going to explain the difference between these now. So the difference between client and server is basically, you can think of it as another computer. Server has no access to anything on the client side has no access to anything on the server side. They don't share the same functions, they don't share anything alike. The only thing that is similar between them is a couple shared functions, which is basically means they're made on both the server and the client. They're in a client folder and they're in a server folder. That's what shared is. One way to think about this is the server folder is, say, Elite Lupus RP. His server that he has in the UK is completely different than my computer here in Texas. His server does not have access to my computer, and I do not have access to his server. The client side is my local computer. The server side is his server in the UK. You know what I mean? So that's basically the difference between client and server. I'll go into it in a separate video later. I'll go into it with examples and code, but for now, you just want to know about folder structures, so that's the basics. In server, we're going to make a file. We're going to call this sv underscore whatever. I'm going to name it showcase. .lua. This will be our server side folder or file. And basically, we're naming it SV because we don't want it to be named the same as a client-side file, and then you get confused. Because if you have a bunch of files open like I do sometimes, you'll see, oh, it's showcase. Oh, it must be the right one. And you click on it, and it ends up being the client-side one, and now you're just confused. In client, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to name it CL underscore showcase. The names do not have to match. I'm just making them match. There you go. So now we can open these up and we have our full reign to start coding. This is the basics of folder structure in Garry's mod. There's some more advanced stuff like includes and libraries, but most of that stuff will be covered in future videos, and you will learn a lot of that stuff by yourself in your own time as well. Over time, you'll learn a lot of things about Lua, one of which being, you are your best teacher. You will teach yourself the best things that I simply can't explain to you in simple terms. I can explain it to you, you wouldn't get it, but if you did it yourself, you'd get it. But that's about it for today's episode. I'm going to make another video on basic variables and basic Hello World programs. But for now, this is all we're going to do. So yeah, that's about it.